VRR is a godsend on the Switch 2. Almost every game feels exceptionally smooth because of it, especially Switch 1 games. Now, I'm not sure if you saw, but I posted gameplay of Resident Evil 6 running on the Switch 2. Now that thing, because of VRR and the high FPS, feels like it's running at 120 FPS. Now that is actually the best experience I had with Resident Evil 6 on any handheld. It's terrible on the Steam Deck, it's terrible on the ROG Ally, it's almost unplayable on the Legion Go, so my only option was to try to play it on the Switch 2, and it seemed like it managed to go even above 60, which is so amazing because I wanted to replay that game so bad, but I wasn't able to on any of my PC handhelds, and now the Switch 2 has enabled not only a playable Resident Evil 6, with it being the best version of Resident Evil 6, by the way, because you can switch costumes during the campaign, opposed to the PC versions where you can't. But not only that, it runs at 60 FPS and even higher at times. It feels like it, at least. I need some kind of FPS monitor to get legitimate data on this, but it felt buttery smooth. So yes, Switch 1 games definitely benefit from the Switch 2's VRR screen. And not only do Switch 1 games work better because of the hardware, but it's also because you have a lot faster internal memory, along with the express SD card that you're inevitably going to store your Switch 1 games into. Having an 800 to 900 megabit per second SD card is definitely going to help with loading times with all of the Switch games, and yes, they all load in about 5 to 6 seconds. And a lot of Switch 1 games in the past used dynamic resolution, and because you're playing on faster micro SD card or internal space, booted by better hardware, you're not going to see any of that dynamic resolution. So games like No More Heroes 3 is going to look better because the dynamic resolution is not going to be there, while games like Bayonetta 3 will also benefit from this, and you won't see that dynamic resolution for 90% of the time. When you do summon those giant demons, you will most likely see some kind of dynamic resolution on the effects of the game, but besides those moments, even games like Bayonetta 3 run and look a lot better because of the lack of dynamic resolution. And my personal favorite game that I tested recently was Ninja Gaiden 3. Now that game had the worst dynamic resolution because of how fast-paced it was, and on the Nintendo Switch 2, Ninja Gaiden 3 runs with perfectly stable resolution and also at 60 FPS. So because of the Switch 2's hardware bump, it made Ninja Gaiden 3 on the Switch 2 the best version, and it instantly made me look into actually getting a 1 terabyte so I could put even more Switch 1 games on my Switch 2.